Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lizzy for those of you who don't know. And today we are back with an August wrap up. And can we just first off start with how fast August went by? Like I literally blinked and August was done. Like it's literally crazy. I'm not mad about it because I'm excited for fall, but like I'm not even joking. I feel like this month literally went by so quickly. And we did read some really great books this month that I'm so excited to talk about. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and talk about the books that I read this month. Okay, so the first book that I started off with was Fairy Tale by Stephen King. And I think this is classified as a fantasy. This book is kind of hard to explain. This book follows a boy named Charlie, and Charlie stumbles upon this old man who is about to like fall and break a bone, and he goes and helps him, and he ends up like apprenticing with this old guy, becoming good friends with him and helping out with him because he saved his life. And this old guy has a shed in the backyard of his house, and Charlie sees things happening to the shed, but he's told not to go over there. And unfortunately, the old guy dies, and Charlie goes to the shed, and lo and behold, there is a tunnel that leads all the way down to a portal, basically, to another world, like a total fantasy world, which when I read that synopsis, or when I read that it was kind of like an Alice in Wonderland, like Bridge to Terabithia, Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe type of thing, where like it's our world and then you stumble upon this new world. Like I thought that it would be my thing because I love those types of fantasies. Like it's so cool. Like those are my favorite movies growing up. So I thought it would kind of like just make me feel kind of nostalgic in a way. But instead this book made me feel bored. I give this book a 3.5 stars. This is my first Stephen King novel and I had my hopes up. But I'm not even joking, the amount of mundane things that I read in this book was crazy. Like I literally have never felt the urge to want to skip pages in books. But in this book, I found myself just like scanning through everything except for dialogue because I was getting so bored of everything that was happening in this book. Like the fantasy world to me was not a very well developed fantasy. It was kind of actually hard to understand. Like I didn't really understand, like it was just kind of it was all over the place to me. And I don't know if that's because Stephen King doesn't really write fantasy. I know he writes mostly like horror and mystery, so I don't know if this was his forte per se, but I'm still gonna give it a 3.5 because I'm scared. Next, I picked up Red Rising by Pierce Brown, and this is classified as a sci-fi novel, and this follows a guy named Darrow, and Darrow is kind of like this mine worker in Mars, and he is basically told that the work that he's doing is going to help everyone in the future. So that's what the book's about. Basically, beyond that, this book lost me. Like I have never been so confused reading a book. I did film myself reading this because this was part of the books I read for books out of my comfort zone. So if you do want to check that out, I'll put it up here. But I have never been so confused about a book that I was reading. I felt so dumb. Like I genuinely have never felt so stupid reading a book. And I was waiting for like the pinnacle. I was waiting for the moment for me to like finally understand the hype of the book. And what I think everyone thought was the hype, it didn't deliver. I didn't sense humanity in this book. To me, these people did not even feel like humans. They felt like just different beings. And I just felt disconnected with almost every single character in this book. I don't know. I just felt very disconnected to the plot, very disconnected to the characters. Not only that, but like I honestly didn't understand a thing that happened. And the things that I did understand, like I would quickly just lose that tangent and then I would quickly forget. So I don't know if I'm going to continue with the series. I might eventually, but I'm not gonna like, oh my gosh, I need to pick up the next book. Like, I'm probably just gonna take my time with these, but I gave this book a 3.5 stars in case you were curious. So yeah, Red Rising. Next book that I picked up is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And this book follows two college students, and they are both majoring in development of video games. And they are actually childhood friends, and they end up like teaming up and making a video game. You're basically following their journey with these video games that they create and the development of the video games and everything about it. And I play video games myself, so I really did love that aspect of this book because I just thought it was very interesting to hear about the development of like the old 90s video games that we know today, like the way that they came about. I just really liked that concept. This is a literary fiction, so to me, I don't really love literary fiction because it always doesn't have like an aspect that I enjoy. It always like, it just is not strong enough for me to give it anything more than a 4 stars. So I gave it a 4 stars for what it was. I did enjoy it, but it just didn't have enough romance for me. It didn't have like that like driving, you know what I mean? So I appreciate the book for what it is. I definitely enjoyed my time reading it. It's just like sometimes the author or sometimes like there would be tangents written in this book that I was like, did we really need to go in this direction? Like it just was confusing in some aspects as to why it was being talked about, but I do appreciate the book for what it is. I give it a 4 stars, so I did enjoy it. So yeah, it was very good. And also the cover is stunning. I mean, look at that. Just so cute. Okay, so the next book that I read is Finally Mine by Lucy Score, and this is the second book following Pretend You're Mine by Lucy Score. I gave this book a 3.75 stars. I liked it a lot better than the first one. I really liked their relationship a lot better and everything about it. They're just very forgettable. Like I forgot about the characters already. Like it was a cute book for what it was. I liked, it just was cute. And I thought Gloria was a super cute character, but that was it. Like I finished it pretty quickly. It just was kind of like one of those in-between books that you just like read just to read. And it's on Kindle Unlimited as well, so that's a good thing. The next book that I picked up is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This book follows our main character named Kel, and Kel is an Antari. And in this fantasy world, there are actually 4 parallel Londons: Red London, Grey London, White London, and Black London. And an Antari is someone who can travel through all 4 of those parallel Londons. And basically, Kel stumbles upon something that he shouldn't have brought back from a London, and then that kind of unfolds into this like mystery or like this adventure, and he also meets this character named Delilah Bard along the way. And yeah, I did enjoy my time reading this. I gave it a 4 stars. I thought that it was a very good start to a series. I thought it was good. I thought it was like a solid start, and I was like, I don't know if this magic system is gonna like take the cake. Like it's not gonna be like my favorite fantasy series of all time, because I much rather enjoy fantasy that's very epic and very, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like epic fantasy, I really like, rather than this. It was verging on to like almost an urban fantasy, because it had real aspects of the real world, but it also had magic. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good start to a series, so yeah, 4 stars. The next book that I picked up is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, and this book is just a cute little cowboy romance. I gave this one a 3.5 stars, I believe, and it was just a really cute story. It was fairly short, so I've just had a hard time falling in love with all of the side characters, so it just like didn't feel super complete to me, but I have a feeling once the next books come into the series that I will enjoy those a lot. But it was a really cute, fast read, and I highly recommend. After I read Done and Dusted, I read The Inmate by Frida McFadden, and I love Frida McFadden so much. She is just such a solid, like, consistent author of mine that I know if I'm going to pick up her books, like, it might not be the most incredibly developed story. It might not be so, like, I don't know, like, it's going to be so fast. I'm going to love it so much. I'm going to have such a fun time reading it. But all I know is that every time I pick up a book from hers, like, I literally enjoy my time so much. I'm sitting there and I'm, like, gasping and I'm, like, this and that. The Inmate definitely delivered with that. I gave it a 4 stars. It was just so fun and easy to read. I love Frida McFadden so much. The next book that I picked up is Five Survived by Holly Jackson. Holly Jackson is actually the author of the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, and I really did enjoy that series, so I was very excited to pick this one up. And to be honest, this one kind of let me down a little bit. I felt like the story wasn't very interesting to me. Like, there was some side plots, and it just wasn't my favorite plot ever. Like, I felt like it was missing an element to it that I love in my young adult mysteries, and that's all these really tiny plot twists that you get. I don't know. It just kind of missed the mark for me. I gave it a 3.75 stars. So it wasn't quite a 4 stars, but it wasn't a 3 star. It was kind of just that in between. Like, I enjoyed my time reading it, but it wasn't like my most favorite book that I have ever read. But if you liked Holly Jackson's writing, like, I would still pick it up because it was very easy to read. So then after that, I picked up Binding 13 and Keeping 13, and oh my gosh, guys, I literally fell in love immediately. I gave both of these a 5 stars. Like, I'm not even joking. I think I was 50 pages into Binding 13, and I just, like, could not stop reading it. Like, I literally fell in love with the characters and the story so much. It just, like, honestly pulled at my heartstrings. Like, these characters are just so well thought out, and just, they have so much depth to them, and I loved it so much. Like, it was so good. So the next book that I picked up is The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, and I did read 2 of Abby Jimenez's books last month, and I did thoroughly enjoy those. And I picked this one up, not anticipating that it would be my absolute favorite, because this is known to be the one that people don't super love. And I actually didn't end up loving this one. I gave it a 3 stars. The thing is the way that these 2 people meet, I felt like was a very gray area. She was in a relationship, and it just was like, I just felt like there were things said. It felt a little bit like emotional cheating to me. And I don't know, it just wasn't, I didn't super love the way that it started, and because it started that way, I felt like I got kind of disconnected with these characters pretty fairly quickly. So everything following, like, I just wasn't super enjoying their story, but I loved Sloane's story, which is a side character, and her story is heartbreaking, and I am so excited to pick up the Happily Ever After playlist, which is her book. I am like, I can't even, like, that one, I'm so scared and excited to pick up because her story broke my stinking heart reading this one. Like, I was like, it was so sad. And then when I saw at the end that Sloane story is the next one, I literally freaked out. I was so excited. So yeah, guys, this one was not my favorite, but I am very excited to pick up the next one. Okay, so the next books that I picked up is A Gathering of Shadows and A Conjuring of Light, and these books are the books that follow A Darker Shade of Magic, and I felt like in A Conjuring of Light, the story for 70% of it was literally so stagnant, like no development was happening at all, and then it picked up. And then I felt so disconnected because I was so bored the first 70%, and then it picked up and I was like, I don't even care anymore. Like, I just felt like so over it at that point. I gave that book a 3.5 stars. And I know that this is such a well-loved series, so it really is sad to, like, not enjoy a book that, you know, everyone else enjoys, because it just, you feel like you are in the wrong for not enjoying it as much, or like not getting something, but it's just because everyone just has different tastes when it comes to books. So I didn't really like that one. And then because I have book OCD, I was like, well, I need to read the last one. Even though it is 650 pages, I still need to torture myself and read it. And so I picked it up, and I felt like it was definitely better, but it didn't quite take the cake for me. Like, I just was like, I just didn't care at that point. Like, I was like, and I know I should have DNF'd it. I should have, because I wasn't enjoying my time reading it. I gave it a 3.75 stars because I enjoyed it a little bit more than A Gathering of Shadows. But I just was like, I'm just not getting it. I'm not getting it. I felt like they lost me with the magic system. It just wasn't my favorite type of fantasy. I think that was what I concluded, was like, that's definitely not my type of fantasy that I like. So I'm really upset that I didn't enjoy it a ton, but I honestly still recommend it. It seems to be a favorite of so many other people, so you might be one of those people. The next book that I picked up is Love and Luck by Jenna Evans Welch, and this is just a YA interconnected series, and this is the second book following Love and Gelato, and this was just a really cute, fast read. It's literally 300 pages. Like, it took me no time at all. I thoroughly thought it was super cute, and it didn't have like a ton of substance. It just felt like a cute story. Basically, this girl is going to her aunt's wedding in Ireland, and she stumbles upon this guidebook that just has a bunch of like, spots in Ireland that like are very cool spots that not other tourists know about. So she basically just goes on this little adventure with her brothers. It has cute little like mentions of family. I feel like family is a big part of this book, and I have a big family, so I thought that was super cute. And I love Ireland. I think Ireland's a beautiful country. So I just felt like it was very atmospheric. It was very cute. I give it a 3 stars. Very nice. After I read Love and Luck, I then went into One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. And oh my gosh, was this book so cool. So this follows Elspeth, and she got sick when she was younger with an illness that either took your life or gave you powers. And basically it cursed her, and it put a creature in her brain that kind of talks to her, and it's only her and him. Like, no one knows that he is in her brain talking to her. So she's basically been plagued by this weird creature that talks to her in her brain for 11 years. And yeah, you basically just uncover a lot of things. And the magic system in this book is so cool. It has to do with like these cards, and these cards do different things. It was so good. This is classified as a gothic fantasy, and I loved the vibes. It was so good. It was like, I mean, this cover, just like, the vibes were so good. The vibes were so good. It was just so good. The romance was also so good as well. Like, I just really thoroughly enjoyed my time. I gave it a 4.25 stars. Like, the next book is coming out next month, and I am genuinely so excited to get into it because I honestly thoroughly enjoyed this one so much. So I highly recommend picking this up if you haven't. So the next book that I picked up is Scarlet Princess by, I don't know the author, but it's Scarlet Princess, and I picked this up because Sarah Caroli raved about this mini series last month, and I picked it up. It's on Kindle Unlimited. I picked it up and I was reading it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this romance is blossoming way too quick for me. I was immediately turned off by the main romance. And then we got introduced to a character, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be Tamlin situation. I can already tell. I could smell the Tamlin situation from here. So, and that was pretty far in the book, so I didn't really enjoy like 80% of it. And then the last 20%, I was like, it was picking up, and I was like, oh, I wanna know what happens. I gave it a 3.5 stars. I thought it was super cute, and I do want to pick up the next one because I was very intrigued by that ending. Next book that I picked up is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center, and this book picked up steam last year, but it was only in hardcover, and I refused. I was like, nope, I am not getting it in hardcover. Like, that's crazy. So I literally waited a year for it to come in paperback, and can I just say, this book was so good. This book, it was so good. The pacing of this was incredible. The romance was so good. The guy is such a golden retriever and she is his bodyguard, so she's very stern with him, very like nonchalant, very like no BS. Like, it was such a good dynamic. It was just so cute. It was so cute. I gave it a 4.75 stars. It was so close to a 5. The only thing I needed was a dual POV. Like, I was honestly dying to know his thoughts. Like, I just needed to know his POV. I felt like if she added, honestly, like 2 chapters at the end would have done me fine. Like, that would have been fine. But yeah, that was the only thing that I needed from this book, was dual POV. But other than that, it was so incredibly amazing. The pacing, the story, it was so good. And I did not expect to love it so much. It was just such an amazing book. I highly, highly, highly recommend picking up this one if you haven't done so yet. The last book that I read in August is none other than Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings, and this is the second book after Magnolia Parks. It follows different characters, of course. I can't really get into what this one is about though, because honestly I can't really, it's kind of hard to explain these books, but you're basically following this huge friend group in London, and this one specifically follows a gang, mafia sort of thing. Like, it was very different than what I have read in the past, but thankfully it wasn't like the main focal point. It is very character-based, these books. It's not very plot-heavy. This is based plainly on relationships and character development, and this book made me so mad sometimes. Like, it was ranging from like a 1 star to 2 star, 3 star, 1 star, 4 star, oh my gosh, a 5 star, 4 like, it was going back and forth in ratings. So I decided on a 4 star. Anything with the 3 star, like, I was like too low, because this book just had so much going on in it, and the ending was just so, I just need to know what happens. Like, nothing good happens in this book. Oh no, guys, you're gonna pick this book up and you're gonna be like, where is the satisfaction of literally anything? There's no satisfaction in this book. It is all just all of these young people just liking everyone, and just everyone just pining after each other and sleeping with each other, and it's just like, I was just getting so frustrated. But at the same time, I'm being fed. Like, I'm being fed drama, I'm being fed this and that. So while it's toxic, it's also very entertaining. But if you don't enjoy that, you will not like this series at all. Like, if you do not like unconcluded books that do not hold satisfying endings, or just like no conclusion to anything, you will not like this series, because I feel like it's just one non-concluded story to the other. So, but I guess I'm gonna have to pick up the next books because I did like it. But yeah, I give it a 4 stars, so I enjoyed it a little bit. But yeah, guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like, subscribe, do all of those things that you guys know how to do. Follow me on my social medias if you would like, and I will hopefully see you in my next YouTube video. Bye, guys.